Halloween Kills is the second part in Blumhouse's new Halloween trilogy, and it was so fucking stupid. Those of you who've watched my channel for a bit will know that second only to the Saw films, the Halloween series is my favorite horror franchise. The original did a great job building tension with smooth cinematography and a chilling soundtrack. The sequels, despite how ridiculous and convoluted they get, I still find entertaining for the most part, and the less said about the zombie movies, the better. When I first saw the 2018 film, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, and it had its fair share of corny stuff, but it did a good job at being a back-to-basics Halloween film. Great use of long takes, tension in the soundtrack, stellar performances, and a satisfying climax that did a great job at adding closure to the series.
On October 16th, 2020, Halloween Kills, and on October 15th, 2021, Halloween Ends.
You can call it Halloween Ends all you want, but we'll see you again in 10 to 20 years. Truer words have never been spoken, Max. Anyway, if they're gonna drag this franchise through the mud again, the least they can do is make it entertaining. And entertaining it was. I should mention that my housemate and I saw this movie at a free advanced screening with a full crowd. And oh my god, I've missed that experience so much. Watching this movie reminded me what seeing a big blockbuster pre-COVID was like. Going into a crowded theater with no assigned seating, filled with people who are just as excited about the movie as you are, hearing the reactions from different corners of the theater, the laughter, the applause, the After almost a year and a half of nearly empty theaters, this was a fun change of pace. As for the movie itself, it was really dumb. After word gets out that Michael Myers is alive, the people of Haddonfield get fed up and decide to form angry mobs and hunt him down. Okay, at this point in the story, this guy has survived getting burned alive and shot multiple times and has also murdered like 10 people by himself. And these random hicks with a couple of guns and no proper combat training think they're gonna take him out? Isn't this how Ted Hollister got killed in Halloween 4? And then the police just kind of shrug it off like, yeah, whatever. These lunatics found their way into the Capitol. They can catch a serial killer. Why haven't they called in the military yet? Or maybe the Avengers? And when they do finally find Michael and corner him, no one thinks to call the cops or keep him subdued until a professional arrives. Let's just beat him to the ground for like 30 seconds and pray that he won't magically get up and murder all of us. Did no one think to chop off his head? Is Laurie the only competent one in this fucking town? Speaking of Laurie, she's barely in this. And when she does show up, all she does is realize Michael is alive, gear up to confront him again, while never actually leaving the hospital and having a weird out-of-nowhere romance with Sheriff Will Patton. I know they're saving her final confrontation with Michael for the third film, but seeing how she's one of the only legacy characters left other than Lindsay, you could have at least given her more to do. In fact, the more I think about it, most of the main characters outside of Michael don't have that much to do. They reintroduce Marion Chambers, but then she dies. Lindsay has one close encounter with Michael and then she gets hospitalized. Tommy Doyle, not played by Paul Rudd this time, leads this revolt of angry townspeople, but it keeps cutting away to other things, and then he dies at the end anyway. Even the rest of the Strode family doesn't have that much to do. Karen keeps telling her mom to stay put while also mourning the loss of her husband, and Allison tags along with her douchebag boyfriend to track down Michael. This movie is so unfocused, you need glasses to see it properly. Among other things, this movie needs to pick a fucking tone. Yes, the 2018 film had humor in it too, but it managed to strike a decent balance between drama and comedy. But in this one, the tone jumps back and forth so many times. We go from an old couple playing with a drone to that same old couple getting their necks slashed with a kitchen light. We'll go from a strangely serious scene that shows an angry mob going after a mental patient who jumps out the hospital window and kills himself to a gay couple getting high and eating honey. The dialogue is a balanced mix of exposition and horror movie cheese, and most of the actors feel like they weren't told what movie they were gonna be in. Now, despite the fact that I've been bashing it for the past few minutes, I still had a blast at this movie. Filmmaking wise, the movie had pretty solid cinematography and a rocking soundtrack by John Carpenter. They show a flashback to 1978 that sets up some of the new characters, and even features a de-aged Loomis. And when I realized that this was new footage, not from the other movies, I was like, holy shit, that's kind of awesome. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was great for the few scenes she showed up in, and the kills in this movie are thoroughly satisfying. One thing I love about 2018 Michael is he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He will murder anyone and everyone who gets in his way. He is brutal and relentless, but still strategic. It's not like Zombies Michael Myers, where they just gave a homeless guy like 20 pounds of crack and a knife. He's sneaky and smart about everything he does. Whenever he's on screen, you are both scared and having a blast. As I said, this movie is really stupid and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I had a good time watching it. It definitely gets me excited for part 3. I just kind of wish it did enough to stand on its own as a more focused movie. If you are going to see it, make sure it's in a crowded theater, because that is frankly the best way to experience a movie like this. So going to my ranking, I'm giving it a 3.5 or possibly a 4 out of 5.